This video takes a look at Lamar's grip of the football. He's mentioned it himself recently, and I guess its effect on him throwing a spiral. And we want to point out that throwing a spiral is not just a thing that we should admire aesthetically. It really aids in his accuracy. I believe it's a big deal. And it's been mentioned, this is nothing new, it's been mentioned for over a year now, that the way he grips the football is unorthodox. But until now, I get the feeling, though I can't say this for sure, that it's being kind of swept off to the side, is perhaps not as important. But it needs to be addressed. It's really, to me, a lot easier. I'm not saying it's a simple fix, but it's a lot easier to address than the lower body mechanics things, which perhaps is why that's been just a primary focus in the off season. One thing we do know about him is that he's going to work hard, and I don't want this video to come off as as negative, overly negative about Lamar, because I'm a big fan of his, and that's one of the things I do like about him, is that he is going to work on things. So I really put this out with an understanding, or at least a belief, that if he fixes his grip or adjusts his grip to a more traditional one, you're going to have a really, really special quarterback, even more special, and a very, very particularly difficult offense to defend. You can get a sense in this photograph. This is from early June, June 3rd, I believe. You can get a good sense of how Lamar is comfortable holding the football. It's very unorthodox, and you can see how high he is on the football. You can see where his index finger tends to grip, right near the tip, and how little he approaches the seams there with his hand. But watch the effect that grip has on the football. Just a quick little out pattern, and the ball's really spinning. Very far from a spiral. The ball gets where it ought to, but I don't think it will consistently. We're going to start this play with the ball just off Lamar's hand. You can see that it's almost pointed. The point of the football is almost directly to the ground. If we look at this play from the onset, we're going to notice Montgomery go into motion. As he does, that triggers the free safety down. Free safety comes down ostensibly to cover Montgomery, and the strong safety is going to roll to the middle of the field. And Lamar makes a good read here. He's going to understand this to be a blitz, and he's going to see the numbers on the perimeter and get the ball out. You may even ask him to forego this ball fake, but the ball's wildly inaccurate there off his hand. You can see, too, this is the sort of play you cannot afford to miss. You've got numbers, as I said, on the perimeter. This is one where you're gonna gain positive yardage for sure here, and you may even be able to kind of break this down the sideline and score. But you can't give up this kind of play here. The football's natural trajectory is a downward one when you grip it with your index finger at the point and you grip it high this way. You can see he runs with it that way. That's how he feels most natural holding the football. You'll also notice, too, if I can catch it, that the ball's going to turn completely sideways at a certain point. Let me see if I can get it. Right about there. As soon as that happens, it's going to dip like a slider into the ground. Again, its natural trajectory is downward, but it really does some funny things. It doesn't want to spiral for you. The Browns in cover three here, the safety's going to come, or the corner's going to come up, read this as a slant, and Lamar sells that with his eyes. This hook player drops just enough, and that's what he's waiting on. Look how quickly the ball's out. See, Willie's not out of in the clear yet. The ball's coming out. Does everything right, but he's not. He's still holding. You can see the frustration there. You can see how frustrated Willie is. Watch the football coming off his hand. sort of end over end. Very difficult to catch. It's going to affect his accuracy in short. These balls don't come out non-spiraling because of his lower body mechanics. It is entirely related to how he's gripping the football. There's some high-level quarterback play on this from a very young quarterback. We'll watch it. It demonstrates a few things. Firstly, that he can put the ball on a rope in a tight window. But let's go back and watch this play. And it's really a neat cat and mouse game between this linebacker and Lamar. It shows how Lamar is very comfortable in the pocket and very sensitive to what's around him in terms of coverage. Also aware of where his routes are in terms of the timing of the routes. He wants Andrews right off the ball here. There's little doubt. You can see the flat route here too. This hook curl player is gonna if he does his job here, is not gonna abandon this hook curl and go to the flat until he sees Lamar turn his shoulders that way. But Lamar tries. You can see him turn shoulders just a little and his eyes to the flat route, and the linebacker continues to get good depth. But what I like apart from that is how comfortable Lamar is. He has an understanding of where you can see Hayden is. He's going to have a great throw in terms of it being anticipatory here. Really tight window. And he gets the ball just as Hayden clears that linebacker. Again, he is not able to step into the throw here. So you see that he's got a talented arm, clearly. Just another one of those flick of the forearm kind of throws. And it's right on the money. As I went through plays, kind of looking for certain throws that might lend themselves to this video, you can't help but stumble upon throws that are absolutely perfect. You also notice that he's always comfortable in the pocket, and you know the notion that he is a run-first quarterback, you know that should be dismissed right away. He's very comfortable back there, very confident and calm. This is something they had to have seen on tape, but that when the Raiders show two, they're going to stay there, and they release both tight ends, and watch this read he makes. He notices that Mark clears underneath. His eyes follow Hayden on this post, sees the safety go away, and then it's just a flick of his wrist. So I think he's a much more gifted thrower of the football than he's given credit for. And you can see he's not afforded here the opportunity to step into this throw. It's just a simple flick of his wrist. I'd love to see how he held this football, because this is a really nice looking ball off his hand. You can see a slight flutter, but I wonder where his index was. And of course, we'll never know. But I don't believe that Lamar is inherently inaccurate the way people portray him. I think it is tied to this finger in large measure. He's trying to hit this throw low on purpose here, but the way that he grips the football doesn't allow him that sort of precision. You can see he's a bit frustrated at the end of that. You can see the ball coming off his hand, non-spiraling. And then it sort of squares and drops. If you have time and you're so inclined, take a football outside and do some throwing with your hand above the seams or your index just near the tip, the way Lamar has it. And do your best to throw a spiral and then go back to a more traditional grip. And the difference is striking. It's readily apparent, no matter how many times you do it. And I think we'll know, once we see some video from OTAs and minicamp. You'll know how much he's working on it. Again, to me, I think could be really, really special as a thrower. And it may be naive of me to suggest this, but I think much of it is tied to this grip. Much of his so-called problems with accuracy are tied to how he grips the football.